This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so good morning. So where we are currently, we are learning PL SQL, right? So sometimes you have to implement a logic in the system. You have to start writing a code. You have to do all the repetitive tasks. You want to automate something, some queries. So what is the best option? You have to go and write something called logic. So everything has to be placed into a block of code. That block of code, we will put it into a different concept called as PL/SQL. We also call it as procedural language. So PL/SQL is like a complete, like a Java, like a .NET, and it's also a language where you will be writing every logic into a block. The first thing we saw was we saw the difference between SQL and PLSQL. So what was possible in SQL, what was not possible in SQL, we have tried that, and also we have started learning about something called something called PL SQL. Okay, so it's going to be a combination of SQL plus a programming concept, both included together. We call it as a PL SQL. Okay, and the first thing we learned in this was procedure. The first concept which we have learned in PL SQL is procedure. So it's like a stored program. You send the parameter, whether it is a year or it is a filters with respect to where conditions. You just send the variable, and for that variable, you send a parameter value that will go and sit in. And when you call it, you will get a response. You'll get an output. Okay, so this was a syntax. As again I told, semicolon was the end of the code, but now what I will do, since I'm running a block of the code, it is going to be delimiter again. What I was telling is, you know that there are different type of database. One is MySQL, one is Oracle, one is Sybase, one is PostgreSQL. Okay, the concept of procedure is same. Like if you want to write a PL SQL code, the block is code, okay. But in MySQL is where I am giving delimiter, okay. But in case of Oracle, it is not required. In case of Sybase, there will be different type of delimiter. So the concept is same, but since we are learning MySQL, I'm just giving as a delimiter. Tomorrow in your project, somewhere, some procedure, if you see that there was no delimiter, just assume that it is type of that tool which does not support delimiter. Directly you will be writing begin and end, or maybe directly create procedure. So try to understand in that way, and don't expect always there will be delimiter. In MySQL we have, right? So this is what we have seen, procedure syntax. Now what we are going to do, what we are going to do, we have seen a few examples of creating procedure. First we started with a simple select. First, we started with a simple select. Whenever I want to get a car data, I need not run this. I need not run this. Instead, if I call the call details procedure, automatically the result I am going to get. Automatically the result I am going to get. Okay. Suppose if a client is asking me, hey, can you tell me how many cars was there in 2015? How many cars was there in 2016? So he keeps on dynamically giving values. What is the best way is just give the in parameter as YR and start sending the value. Start sending the value. So what happens? The moment you send that 2015 or 2016, automatically it is going to append in the code, and you're going to get that values result. This is what we have seen. Okay, now, so as I told, this is for just select code. If this is for just select code, it's not coming. Procedure KSR card details does not exist. Maybe this is selected. I have to go and select our database. Which is our database? One India database. Set as a default schema. Now I'll go and run. Yeah, now I got. Yesterday I created, right? Yesterday I created. Today why I'm using? because it is a stored one. This procedures as stored, like they have stored, you can use it n number of times. Today I did not create, yeah, today I did not create, still I'm able to run it. Now if I want 2014 car count, just send the parameter, got it. So yesterday client asked me 2014, today they asked me 2015. I was able to do it. Why? It's stored. It's stored. Okay. Now come for this. This also we have tried. Sending year and fuel type. Correct? Now, now come for this. What we have done, this is with respect to same thing. This is also same thing. Okay. Then we have given start date and end date, right? So we give start date and end date. So if it is between the start date and end date, we are going to get the sales. So this is what it's happening. Okay. Again, what is there? Procedure does not exist. Okay, I think this is there in KSR SQL. Now I'll go and run this. Now I'll go and run this. I got. I got. Okay. So with respect to whichever data they want, I can easily get it. Okay. Now we'll go to one step ahead. We'll see some complex function, maybe complex procedure. Okay. So what we are going to see today is, I will explain this. First, I'll explain the notepad about the code and then we will execute. Okay. Now, the solution or maybe the requirement is very straightforward. Define the type of the customer. Define the type of the customer. Okay. What is this type? What is this type? Whether they are gold customer, platinum customer, silver customer, something like that. Okay. So if you see right, what is the first one? It's going to be silver. After silver, it's going to be gold. After gold, it's going to be platinum. So what I want to do is, okay, so let us say this is from sales, right? So I'll go and show you the sales table. This customer ID is there. Okay, let us assume this customer ID, based on the sales they have made, I want to categorize them as silver, gold, or platinum. Very straightforward requirement one, and for the user 2 is these are the sales made by the user 2. So user 2 has made 12,000, 13,000, 15,000. So basically this person, the user id 2, he has made different transaction. So I would say he has purchased more than everyone. So maybe he will fall into a category called more than 15,000. I want to categorize him into platinum. Because client may ask, hey, who is my loyal customer? Who is a customer who's purchasing very less? So this type of questions may come. So how do you handle this? How do you handle this? Okay. Now for that, we'll go and write logic. Okay. The first line, it's always going to be drop. In case if it is existing, I will drop it. Okay. Because if it's already there, I'll get an error, right? So that also you can ignore. I will start from the delimiter. I will start from the delimiter. So delimiter of dollar means unless and until you find the dollar symbol again, you have to run the code. The code is going to exit, code is going to work for 19 lines. 19 lines. In between, you give n number of semicolon also, the code is not going to break. The code is not going to break because I've clearly told wherever I'm starting, you have to end there only, right? Now, delimiter. Now what is happening? Create procedure name. This is a first syntax which we have seen. create procedure name. In the bracket, you have to give the parameters. This time what I'm giving one input parameter and one output parameter. One input parameter and one output parameter. Okay. Now what is happening? What is happening? I want to find out what is a sales made by one, what is a sales made by two, what is a sales made by three, what is a sales made by four. Can you tell me the simple code, very simple code to find this? Sales made by user ID 1, sales made by user ID 2. How can I do it?
Select the sum of sales.
Select sum of sales.
From sales, group by user ID after from sales.
Group by
No, no. Select the user ID, comma, sum of sales.
yes, it's going to be user ID, then sum of sales from sales group by user ID. If I see this, I will get it. Okay, there are around 5 customers. One customer has made 9,500. Second customer 16,000. Third customer not purchase anything. Fourth customer 10,000. Fifth customer 5,000. Okay, so before group by, what I used to do is I used to do like this, where user sum of sales. Okay, where user ID equal to 1. This is how I check the first customer sale. If I want second customer sale, I will go and change this. This was my initially before learning group by function. Okay. Once I learn group by function, I'll get to know the exact customer information. Okay. Now what I will do, user ID is something I am going to pass. User ID is something I am going to pass. So V means I'm just defining as a variable. So that variable value, suppose if I give 1, if I give 2, if I give 3, for him I'll get to know what is a sale, right? So this value is there, right? 1795, or maybe if I given like customer 1, so he has made somewhere around 10,000, 12,000. That value will be coming in the result. Okay, but what I will do, I will put it into one more variable. This value, whenever I'm sending, for that this is going to calculate the sale, and that sale value, that is 1785, I'm going to store it into one variable. Why I'm storing is what something I'll tell. Now easily I can get result here. Okay, suppose the same example I'll take. Observe 220, 223 and 225. What is the change? Now what is happening? I am executing a sum of sales for the person 1. This 1 is person I am sending dynamically, whether I'll send 1, 2, 3, 4 using a procedure. This sum of sales is displaying here. I will put this value into one variable. I'll put this variable into one variable. Okay. So now let us see why I have to do this. I'll see why I have to do this. Okay. I will go back to the code. So as I told, VID is nothing but my user ID. VID is nothing but my user ID, and VStatus is something I have to give it as an output, right? So after this, what is the next step? Begin. So I've written begin. Okay, now this variable I told, right? This variable also I have to declare. Without declaring, you cannot use a variable. You take any programming language except Python. So if you take Java, if you take .NET, any programming language, first you will define this variable. Define means you are going to tell the system, okay, this is what I'm going to use forward. Something you're going and telling. The same thing after begin, I'm declaring one variable. Declare variable data type default 0. Declare is a keyword, purchase is a name of the variable, data type of the variable. Default means initially start and put a 0 to this variable. That is what I am declaring. All this time I was not declaring because it's a straightforward. I use a select query, I use the update query, but now the customer status they want, based on the sales they have made, they need customer status. For that I need to store some value. Okay, for storing some value, what I've done, I've declared a variable. Okay, now what I will do, this code is there, right? Select sum of sales into variable from sales where user ID. The same thing I've written here. Select sum of sales into this variable, okay. So this, suppose I send one, I suppose send one as an input parameter. That one will go and sit here. Select sum of sales. What is the sale for some 9,500? This 9,500 I'm putting into one variable. I'm putting into one variable. Okay. Suppose if I send two, what is a two? Two means 16,303. That value will go and sit in this variable. But line number 9, after line number 9, this variable will have the sales value. Maybe it is having 9,500 if a user 1, if it was user 2, it was having like this, only one at a time. If I am running, I'll be sending one. If you are running, maybe you may be sending a two. So at one point of time, this variable will consist one value. That is what I'm going to store it in this. Why it is required? Why it is required? Once this purchase value is having the sales, I'm going to check if purchase is greater than 10,000. A simple if condition. If purchase is greater than 10,000, then set this output variable as platinum. If purchase is greater than 10,000, then set it the status equal to platinum. Okay. Or else if means if not this, the second condition, if purchase is greater or less than equal to 5,000, if they have made sales less than 5,000, I will set my variable to silver. Okay. Finally, there is an else. If this is not possible, obviously it has to be become gold. What is gold? It is going to be between 5,000 and 1,000. Okay, this is an else condition, last condition. And how to set the variable, like how to set the value? Set v status equal to gold. That is all it is. Simple, straightforward. One extra thing we have done in this procedure when compared to the previous one is we have declared an output variable. We have declared a simple variable. Okay. So this variable is something which will hold the sales value at that point of time, and that I am going to check with an if condition. So if condition variable out parameter is something newly added to this procedure. Okay. Any questions in this?
Excuse me. The declare purchase into here, right?
Your voice is breaking.
Yeah. Can you hear me now, please?
Yeah,
Hello?
tell me.
Yeah, the declare purchase into variable is there, right?
Hmm.
Why you need to declare that particular purchase variable here rather than there in the create procedure, not in that parenthesis?
In this parenthesis, you should get only input and output. Between the parentheses, you have to use only the input and output variable. That is like whatever input you're giving, whatever output you want. But this is a local function which you are using inside the procedure, like this purchase. Why this purchase is required? Because I have to check this condition. Okay, see what you have to do is you can directly go and put it like this, where sum of sales equal to sum of sales is greater than this and all, but it looks odd. It looks odd. Like here you will be getting a confusion. What is the sum of sales? I'm putting into purchase, then again I'm checking this, there will be confusion. So what I am doing, this sum of sales I'm putting into this variable, and that variable value I will check whether if it's greater than 10,000, 5,000, everything. But why it is required in the line number 7 and not line number 4 is, this is a different variables because it is input and output. This is a local variable which I'll be using in the code. Is it clear? Okay. Any other question?
So, what if we don't keep default value here?
First I'm declaring a variable. So if I'm declaring a variable, initially the value should be 0, because some junk value will go and sit, right? Suppose if you're defining a variable, there is possibility that some memory location or some value may go and sit here. For safer side, I'm giving as default. At line number 7, this value will be 0. At line number 9, maybe after running the line number 8 and 9, for whichever user I'm sending, this value will go and sit in this purchase. That's all.
Okay, Santosh.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay. Now we'll go and execute this. Okay. So what I will do, I will run this. Till now, this is where, okay. I will run this. What is the message? Created procedure is created. Okay. Now, very important. Okay. Okay. How will I call a procedure? Call procedure name. Okay. This was I was doing. But what is a parameter? One is a input parameter, one is output parameter. What I will do, input parameter something which I will send, like customer 2, 3, whichever customer you want, you send it. And output is something like this is a output variable. You are trying to access it. How to access it? You have to access it with respect to this @ symbol. Okay, you have to access with respect to @ symbol. Okay, now this v status will contain, it's a gold, it's a silver, or it's a platinum. Okay, so since it's an output variable, I am trying to access this variable using this @ symbol. So previously what it was, it was just straightforward. I used to give 2 inputs, but this time we are going to in a different direction. Like we need an output, like the output variable is sitting here now. Okay, now how to see this? Very simple. Select means it will display here. Select of this value. Okay, now if I run this for the customer 1, the output which was storing as a v status, what happened for the gold means, let us say customer 1. I'll write the query first. Select sum of sales from sales table where user ID equal to 1. When I send the user ID 1, this 9,500 is going and sitting in this purchase. This 9,500 is greater than 10,000, it will check. Failing condition, it will come here. If 9,000 is less than 5,000, that also it's failing. These 2 conditions are failing, it will go to else. So it will set v status equal to gold. So the customer 1 is a gold customer because he belongs between this 9,500. Now 9,500 is saved in this purchase. So what happens? Once I give this one, for that one, the output gold will go and sit in this variable. That's what I'm setting. Status equal to silver, status equal to gold, status equal to platinum. That value will go and sit here. Now if I want to display here, I will be using this. If I run this, I'll just run. The procedure will just run. You cannot see the output. You cannot see the output. Okay. But if you want to see the output, you have to run a select code on this vStatus. Now you will get it. And this is session oriented. Session oriented means once I close a session, the values stored in this vStatus will go. Before closing the session, what I will do, I will store this and I can use it in my any of the other procedure as well. But now line number 226 is something for the customer one, the status is gold customer. Let us try with the customer 2. So customer 2, platinum. Why platinum? He has made 16,000. So 16,000, it's going to be the greater than 10,000. So platinum is the status of that customer. So I'm getting platinum. Suppose customer third, silver. Customer 4, platinum. Customer 5, silver. How can I access the variable? Access the output variable by using the @ symbol. Okay, only one difference is this is was output variable. That output variable is vStatus. That vStatus I'm accessing using @ symbol outside the function. If I want to see display it, I can display it like this. Select vStatus and you will get the value whichever is stored in the vStatus. Is it clear?
Yes, Santosh. Santosh,
Yeah.
one small note.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of so actually we are doing while using the calling procedures, we are assigning an output parameter and then we are printing it, right?
Correct. Yes.
So instead of going this, we can directly print it in the if clause only, right? I mean, in the if sentence is there, right? Go to if once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there we are setting set v status is equals to platinum. That means we are assigning it. So here we can print right directly.
How can you print directly here? Because it's going to be dynamic, right? For one person, it's going to be platinum. For one person, it's going to be silver. For one person, it's going to be gold, right? Based on the
Yes,
value
sir.
you send.
Yeah. So if purchase is equal, suppose purchase value is equals to 10,000. Sorry, 12,000. So it will directly come if purchase value is greater than 12,000. Then here we will print it as a platinum.
Okay, yeah, you're telling like directly I will do this. Suppose if purchase
Yes.
is greater than 10,000, so directly I will give like this.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know how to print it, but we can use this. No?
yeah, we can use this. So you're telling directly assigning and then just display like this. You can do this. Okay, but one thing what happens is they're asking customer status, right? So we are trying to use this output variable. So we have already done without output variable. So this is a different way of doing it, because as and then you move forward, what happens in the real time is this values will be used in some logics. Like if I'm giving the sales information, customer information, this value will be used it. So if you don't use this, how can you get output? If you're getting some select code, it will be displaying here. This displaying here, how can you take it to the another procedure? Those type of problems will come.
Yeah, I understand. So as
Okay, for that,
you are saying that at that instance we can use it. I mean, for displaying purpose, but we cannot store it for
let me
other
tell you, yeah,
usages.
let me tell you one thing. I need this number. How do you get this? This is displaying in the code. If I want to access this for my any of the other procedure, if client is asking me to get this number into variable, how will you do it?
We can use a column name and then we will get it.
No, this is displaying record. If I want to
Okay,
access this, it's not possible.
not possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the reason I'll be declaring as output variable. If I go and declare output variable, this silver value is sitting in this v status. This
We
state
set
v
it.
status variable, I can use it for my any of the other functions I'm telling.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Any other question?
No, sir.
Okay. Any others? Others, any question? Just nothing, there is a change. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, if I want to see all the customers' status at a time,
If you want to see all the customers at a time, so you have to write a group by year. Group by year. Okay. So what is the need of input here then? You no need to give any input, right? Group by sales. Sorry, group by user ID. So for this, why you need suppose you write a logic, okay? You write a logic, and for this you need not write any condition because you're telling I will give everything. Okay, so what will be the change? What will be the change in the entire procedure? No input, no output. Okay, and you will be giving with something called, there is no user ID as well. Just you have to write user ID comma sum of sales group by user ID, and you will be displaying output. So output will come in the select code like this. It will come here, one more column will come. So one will be platinum, one will be silver, one will be gold. You will get that. You can try that. Nothing changed. See, in your case, you are telling I don't give any input. For every user, I have to get it. You can easily get it by using our simple code. We have used a simple code, right? Which we have done with respect to simple code displaying it. So if I just give like this, it is going to display the sales, right? So like that, you can display whatever status they belong to, that you can get it. Clear?
please.
Yeah. So now there is one more requirement for me. Select star from this table, customer information 1. Okay, so what is happening? We have different customers. Okay, so this is a customer name, last name, age, address, department, and phone number. Okay, now what is happening is this is a data of Amazon. Okay, based on their address, you have to set the delivery time. Let us assume the Amazon headquarters is in Bangalore. If Amazon headquarters is in Bangalore, some product which I order it, I will get it within 1 day. If it is if the product was ordered from Chennai, it is just 6 hours from Bangalore, so it will reach in 2 days. Hyderabad is very far from Bangalore, around 1000 kilometers, so maybe it will take 3 days. Delhi is even more farther from Bangalore because Bangalore is headquarters. So what happens? Delhi, it will deliver in 4 days. Based on this address, I have to set how long it is going to ship or it is going to deliver the product. This is my requirement. Okay, but how will I do it? Okay, what I will do, I will write one more function. Okay, so first what I've done, delimiter. So this time I've created a procedure name. So input, I'm sending the customer ID. So this customer ID I will send. If I send 1, for this one customer, internally it will go and check it is from Bangalore. So obviously his delivery will be 1 day. If I'll send 2, see, for example, address from customer table. Say, for example, this is my one ID number 1. So what will I get? Bangalore. Select address from table where condition, where ID equal to 2, Chennai. Where ID equal to 3, Hyderabad. So what I'm going to do, the same code is something which I'm writing here. Select address from table where ID. Since this is an hard coded value, I will go and send the input parameter. Whatever variable I'm giving, I will give here. Okay, but this address is something which I have to check in a condition. So I'm going to declare a variable. V underscore address is a variable and I'm declaring varchar of 100. Now here I'm not giving any default value. So what I will do, once I run for the customer 3, this Hyderabad will go and sit in this variable because I'm selecting Hyderabad into this V variable from the customer, whoever ID you are sending. Okay, now instead of if condition, now I'm going to write one condition called case statement. Case statement. This case variable name, in this variable name, Hyderabad is there now. Hyderabad is there now. I sent 3, Hyderabad is there. So this Hyderabad, when Bangalore, it will set for 1-day shipping. So this condition is failing. When Chennai, it is going to set V shipping as 2-day shipping. That is also failing. When Mumbai, it is setting P shipping as 3 days shipping. This P shipping is my output variable. Okay, and finally this condition will be satisfied because the value it is in Hyderabad. This value is Hyderabad. So this condition will pass. So obviously, if you order any product from Bangalore, it is going to take 4 days. If it is not in Chennai, if it is not in Mumbai, if it is not in Hyderabad, rest any other place in India, it is going to take 5 days. That is what is else condition. Instead of using if conditions, I have used case statement. Both are same, but here I've written in a different way. Okay. Now, once you set this, I will end the case. And finally, I'll end the procedure. Whichever is the begin, I will end the procedure. Okay. So let me run this again. I'll explain you. Okay. Now what I will do, I will run this procedure. I will run this procedure. What is the error? No error. Now I'll go and run it. Since this is one is input, one is output. So one is input, one is output. Okay. So what I will do, this P shipping is my output variable, right? So I'll go and run call customer shipping. This is a procedure name. This is an input parameter, and this is a shipping status, how long it will take, and I'm running this. I don't know where this guy belongs to. 4 means he is in Delhi. So Delhi means obviously it is not present in Delhi. So this Bangalore means 1 day, Chennai means 2 days, Mumbai means 3 days, Hyderabad means 4 days. If it is not in the 4 location, it is going to check for 5 days. That's what I've got here. 5 day shipping. 5 day shipping. If it is 1 day, it was me. It was in Bangalore. So same day, same place, same delivery. It should be 1 day shipping. If I give 2, Chennai, the guy who was in second was Chennai. So for 2 means what happens? It will come here. Chennai will come here. That Chennai will be stored in this V address, and I'm writing a case statement. This Chennai, it will check for the first condition. It's false. When Chennai is equal to Chennai, yes, this is going to be Chennai. So this Chennai is going to be equal. So this value will be set as 2 day shipping. That's what I get here. Any questions? One, just straightforward, simple. Previous one I used if condition, here I'm using case condition. That's all. Based on the location factor, you decide how long it will take for the shipping the product in Amazon. This logic, if what if Amazon ask, If someone is ordering from Chennai, how long it should take? How long it should take? Write a logic. That logic is what I have written. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Santosh.
Yeah. See, one thing I'll tell you, in the real time, whenever you go and work in a project, right? Okay, mostly you will be using select code only, because as a Power BI developer, you will be writing group by having condition, or maybe like you will be taking dip between dates. Client may ask suddenly, what was a sale between 2 months? What was a sale between this date and this date? There may be questions arising for you. What I would say is, if you know that it is going to be run every day, you're going to run the same query, go and create a procedure. Okay, because you know every day you're going to run the same code, every day you're going to just change the parameter like dates or a product wise. So just go and write a procedure. That is how you can keep touch over this PLSQL as well. Not required in the real time, but just as I told, we can automate it, right? Why don't you automate it rather than writing everyday code? Why don't you automate it? So that way, start writing the procedures. Okay, started with a simple car data, and we have ended with writing a shipping details in Amazon. Okay, now all this comes by practice only. Okay, you have to write it, and you have to, don't copy paste it, don't copy paste it, write it. Okay, how to write it? Very simple. Syntax we know. Start with a delimiter, end with a delimiter, and you have to give a procedure. Any object in a database will have a name, and you give input or output parameter, and I'm using one variable and put that value into this variable and write logic. Either it's an if condition, case condition, or select condition. Just write it and just access it using at symbol. So in PL SQL, it is you have to access with at symbol. In other database, need not be. Directly, if you just give out, it will come and display. So those type of small minor changes will be there across the database. Okay, this is what about procedures. Now
Uh,
I'll go to the, yes.
uh, can we use case statement in select query?
Yeah, we can use. We have used, right? We have used, right? I think we have used in one class.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't remember. Maybe you just check the scripts. We have used it in
Okay,
one
okay.
of the data set. We have used it. Yeah, here it is. See. So select employment, employee salary is there. I think I have to use this database again. Employment, find salary, where it is. Okay, so this was a code where select star comma, case of when salary is greater than 15, I used to put it as manager. When salary is less than greater than 10,000, I will name them as team leader. And when e-sal is greater than 5,000, I'll make it as clerk. This code I've written and we have run it.
Okay, can we pass this role of m value into a variable, an output variable? If
I'm
in the
sorry, when in query we cannot do. In query you cannot do. Query is a one line single code. This role of an emp is something like it is a name of the column you're getting. This you cannot do it. Okay, this you will not be able to do it. Why? Because this is a query. But if you want to save it, check it, do everything, only PL SQL is option where you are defining a variable. Here you cannot define a variable, right? You cannot define a variable, you cannot write a procedure in an SQL statement. But if you go for a PL SQL, between the delimiters, whatever you want, you can write it.
in procedure itself, instead of using this case statement out of the select query, can we use it in the select query and pass this value into a output variable?
I'm not clear with your question. So what you're asking is, let us say, what is your requirement? Maybe if you can tell, we will try to write it if possible.
I should be able to see all the for all the users
Hmm. Okay.
shipping.
In that case, okay. So let us see where this table is present. Maybe I can show you. Mm, Just give me 1 minute. Table sales Amazon DB. I guess it should be in Amazon DB. Yeah. So I'll just go and write use Amazon DB. I'll select this. Sales calculation is not present here also. Okay, let's try with any other table. Select star from sales table. Okay, so this is actually product name MRP. Okay, so now what you want is let us say for this table I will write a case statement. Okay, I will write a case statement. Case when sales is greater than 5,000, then it's silver customer. Okay, next, when sales is greater than 10,000, then it's gold. Okay, when sales is greater than 14,000, it's platinum. Okay, and end case. Okay, now end case. Okay, so maybe end case or end, I'll give some name. So I'll just tell status. Okay, now what I will do, I'll just put the star, and if I run this, see, I have only ID, product name, and sales. Now I've got this. Okay, so why customer one is not coming? Yeah, I have not given anything. So let me give it as 0. Let me give this as 5,000. Let me give this as 10,000. So if I run it now, greater than
There
0.
we can keep less than, it
I'm
says
sorry.
less than 5,000. For silver, we can keep sales less than 5,000.
Okay.
And for gold, we can keep sales less than 10,000.
Okay.
Now it will work.
Yeah. Okay. Now if I go and check, yes. So it's working. Silver, platinum, gold, silver, everything is working. You're telling I need this as an output in a procedure. So if you want to get it with respect to all the customers, why
Not
will I give input?
customer,
Yeah.
we need to pass a input parameter also in the where condition.
Okay. What input parameter you want to give?
In the same select query, can you give one where condition and
Okay.
where id
Hmm.
equal to
Hmm.
some input per yeah.
Okay. If I give this, I'm getting. Okay. So this is what you want. In output, what you want to display? The entire four. If
Yes,
you're going with
correct.
the procedure, yeah. What is there here? Just go here. Just write a procedure, delimiter, input parameter, delimiter. This I'll just create a test, and there is no output parameter. There is no output parameter. This is ID is there. So I'll just write v underscore ID. This v underscore ID is something, but I will go and I will define here. Okay. So finally I will end the, yeah, after this where condition, I will end the,
And actually, I want only status in and I should be seeing the status in on output variable.
no, that is what we have done right previously. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
I'll,
but it contains so many lines of code, right? Can we do in this way? I'm asking.
that does not contain so many lines. What is there in this so many lines? Let us see that.
We are using separately the case statement, right? Instead of that, can we use this case statement inside the select query and pass that value, status value, only status value into a output variable?
Yeah, let me tell you. I got your question. Let me tell you. Okay. Um. Okay. So this is what we have written initially: customer status, VID and V status, and whatever purchase value I'm getting, I'm just checking here. Okay, and I'm displaying the output. This is what we have seen. Now you are telling me I want to do it in a simple way. Okay, so now what I will do, this is, yeah. So procedure is there. So output V status I'll give, okay. And now I will give varchar, okay. I'll give something number. Now you tell me, this is a input, this is output variable, okay. I will write the select code. Okay. Whoever is giving the parameter, like whatever value you are getting, you're telling I need only status, right? So in that case, I don't write this. I need only status. So if I go and run this, outside the procedure, I'll give ID as 1. So you're telling I need only status. I got only status. Okay. This status, you have to put it into this variable. That's what I'm doing. Into variable. Okay, not this. So it will come here into V status. So what happens? The status which is coming in silver, you are putting into this variable. So for ID which you send, it will calculate silver and you are putting in this variable, and I'm going to access using output variable. This is what I've done. Now if I run this, you have an error. What is the error? Okay, begin I have not written. Begin. Okay, and end also I have written here. Okay, now we will go. I have to put a delimiter. What is a delimiter? Dollar symbol. So now I'll go and run this. Procedure already exists. Drop procedure test. Created. Okay, so this is a simple way to do it. Now what I will do, how to access it? Call test id at symbol status, at symbol v status, sorry, v status. Then select v status. Okay, now if I call this, I'll get silver. If I call 2,
Santosh, instead of giving the output parameter in after case statement, can we use it like before select v status equal to select case?
v status equal to select. Like you're telling
Yeah,
directly, I'll assign a variable here.
not there. Before select. Before select. V status equal to select case.
V status equal to select, like this. No, it will
Yes,
not
correct.
work. How are you assigning a query to a variable? What
And
is this
for
v status?
giving only one value, right?
I'm sorry.
Query will result only one value, right?
It will result, but what is this v status? It should be either varchar, it should be int, or it should be something like it.
Already we declared, right? Just instead of into this, remove this one into v status here
Okay.
and keep it this in brackets. Can we use it in this
No,
way?
no, we cannot use it. That's what I'm telling. This is a variable. This is a variable. You're telling what you're telling, right? Let me tell you that. I'll tell you what you're expecting.
Or else
See,
set v status equal
see,
to.
you're expecting the entire these things to get stored in a variable. That is not possible. Whatever the status value it's coming, like gold. This gold value I'm putting into one variable actually. This is a result of the query. This query, how can you store it? This will not work. This will not work.
Okay.
So I'm still not sure what is your question. Is it cleared? Your question is cleared, or maybe still you have confusion?
The first question got cleared, so we can use the case statement inside the select and we can get the same result, right? That
Hmm.
I got here. And second thing is like can't we set the total selector query value into a variable that
No,
you are telling?
no, that is not possible because that output only are going to store gold, silver. So you are telling the complete select statement. If I work, I'll get this. I'll put it in a single query. No, you have to put it always into condition. Into condition is the only option to put the value into the variable.
But
You
when we
cannot.
use
Hmm,
case
hmm.
statement outside the select, at that time we are setting the value to the variable, right? Can you go to the others? Which one which you have shown earlier?
Okay.
Set v status equal to silver. Here we are setting the value, right? Like this, set v status equal to. Can you pass the select query once
No,
there?
no, 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 no. You cannot pass it. You cannot. That's what I'm telling. This is a varchar. This is a varchar. This varchar value I'm setting, it's a platinum silver, and you're telling me this set I will just give as, I'll just give as here select code. You'll just tell I'll just write a select code. How it will work? If you run the select code, it is going to store this, it is going to
Okay,
store this content. It is not going to run as a query because it
okay,
is in the
okay.
string. It is in the string. Whatever is mentioned inside the string, it is like a value. That value will go and store here, and it will not run a code.
Okay,
Clear?
Sanjay. Got it.
Yeah,
But we are not giving the select query in quotes, right?
we are not giving select code select in.
Quotes. If we give in quotes only, then it
If
will
if
consider.
if you don't give codes, if you don't give codes, how will this condition be satisfied? Varchar. You're defining variable, right? So if you don't give codes, how will it will think that this is a query or this is a codes or this is a value?
I thought like if in the code select is there, it will consider as a query and that
No, no,
result
no,
will be
no, no.
assigned to the variable.
No, see, as this is a language, some protocols will be followed. In case if you want to put this value, it should always be with respect to into only, into v status. If you just put then only this value will go here. Okay, you cannot just tell that, okay, I will be giving v status equal to select code. No, this I'm declaring as a varchar. If I'm declaring as a varchar, I have to pass value to that. You cannot tell that v status I'll put one query. This is will not work. This it will first condition itself will fail, varchar condition. Maybe you will tell I'll put it in quotes. If you put it in quotes, it will treat this as a value. It will not run as a query.
Okay, can you go back to the script which you have written? Here, I just want to see what error it's going to give. After begin, set v status equal to select query. Can you give set set also?
Set also here. Huh?
Mm. And into
Okay,
v status, can you remove it?
that's all.
Can you run? Yeah.
I cannot even run. That's what I'm telling. I cannot even run. It's throwing an error. This cross
Uh,
mark means there is
just
syntax error. Select is not a valid position. That's what it is telling. See the error. Forget about
okay.
running, forget about compiling. This I cannot even go for the next step. The syntax itself is wrong.
Okay, Santosh. Now I just want to see the error. That's why I asked you to keep
Yeah.
like that.
So the you're telling set v status equal to v state equal to it should be in a varchar. So suppose it is like this. Suppose it is like this. Okay. So maybe
It will run
I'll
to
if I put a select query like this, if I put like a select query like this, okay, now what happens? Now what happens? It will be like setting a value, but still the problem is this is a query. This is a query, but this will not run. It will go and store the same value here because it's a varchar. So in any condition, this will not work. Always you have to put the value into the variable.
got it, Santosh.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now what we will do? Now what we will do? Since we have seen the procedure, okay, now let us go and see something definition part. We have already learned. So now definition is something you have to be understanding. Procedure is a stored program that you can pass parameters into and get the results as you desire. Okay, a procedure is a subroutine, maybe like a subprogram. And internally in procedure has a name, parameter list, and SQL statements. A set of SQL statements will be there. That is what we have written the case statement or like into condition, and we are writing some logics that all comes under SQL statements. Okay, now this is procedure. Now what happens? Let us go and learn the next one. Let us go and learn the next one. Before that, one thing I want to tell is, if you go and see the first procedure which we have written, the car data, okay. So if you see this car details, I don't have any input or any output. This car data, if I run this car details, I didn't have any of the input and output. Okay, again I've changed the database. Just give me 1 minute. I have to set this default schema. Now I will run car data. I got it. Okay, so a procedure can work even without an input or output. In that procedure, I've called a select query. That's why I'm getting. Okay. Now, what we are going to do next is, once we have learned the procedure, now we will go and read something called functions. Okay. So we will concentrate on functions. Now, what is a procedure? If you wanted to apply any automated task, like every query every day I want to run repeated task, something, I'll go and use that type of logic, that is procedure. But what about function? So if you want to apply any mathematical operation like calculating discount, calculating profit, calculating loss, so all these mathematical operations which you want, you can go and use something called functions. Okay. Now, again, at this point of time, definition may not be like, you'll not be able to understand definition. We will go and solve the code, like we will write our first code in function, then you will understand better. Then again we'll come back to the definition part. Okay. So a function is same as a procedure. Very important. The third point is very important. A function is same as procedure, except it returns a value. That means at any point of time you run a function, for sure it has to return a value. Whereas in procedure, I just run it or just leave it. There is no in parameter. There is nothing mandatory that it has to return. Everything will run. But function, it is telling for sure you have to return. A simple example. Okay, I will send a comma b. Here I will send 3, here I will send 5. I want to do addition. The answer is 8. The answer is this one. I want to return outside, or else what is the purpose of adding this? If I don't return, I will never get to know what is the answer. So function only differences, it has to return a value. It has to return a value. Okay. Now again we'll come back to the definition. We'll first go and see what is a syntax. Same syntax. Okay. So what I am doing, delimiter, this double slash I'm giving, create function. The keyword will be function and the function name. Okay. This is what is very important. I am sending two parameters. I'm sending A and B, and this is something, it's very, very important. The returns keyword has to be present, because function have to return a result. If I add two numbers, that two numbers has to be returned, right? Or else how will it get to know what is the operation which is going on, right? So that is something, the important keyword here is return, right? After that I'll begin and I'll write the logic, addition of two numbers. Okay, and I'm returning it. This return, the answer will go here and this will be returned outside the function. Maybe now I'm telling it is getting returned, so you will maybe it is difficult to understand in the syntax. I will show you in the code. Okay, so we'll go and write our first code, then we'll come back to the syntax as well. Okay, now I'll open a fresh page and I'll go and write our first function. Okay, try to understand this. What we have done. Drop function. This is fine. I'm starting with a delimiter. And I've given create function name. Okay, so try to understand. If it has to result out something, that means if result should come out, obviously I have to give an input, right? Without an input, how can I give? So input will also be mandatory. Input is also going to be mandatory. Okay, so in that case what happens, input is also going to be mandatory. So you need not give in. The in is not important here. You need not tell that it's an input. In procedure it was optional because you have to either give your in or out, because it can accept it, it cannot accept it, it can be treated as a misclassified as in, as out, out as in. So something there was a problem. But function, obviously if I want to return some results, for sure I have to give some values, and that is always going to be calculated as input. So you need not give input. That is the first difference between procedures and functions. That is the first difference. Then after you do some operations, it has to return that value. It has to return that value. Okay, that is something which I am writing. And then I'll talk about this line number 6. I'll talk about later. Now again I'll begin it. I'll begin. So I'll declare a variable called profit. That profit equal to cost price minus selling price. You send two values. You send cost price and sell price. And what I'm doing, I'm setting a profit variable equal to CP minus SP. And line number 10 is very important. I have to write a return statement. Return profit means this return profit, it will go to this return and it will be displayed output. Okay, so what I will do, I'll go and run this. Okay, so after running, what I will do is, after running, I will just see the error, create function created. Okay, now when you call a procedure, you give like this, call procedure name. Okay, but now what I will do is, in order to call a function, you can just write select function name. Select function name. Okay, so you send the parameters. You send cost price is 100, selling price is 50. Okay, so what you have done, I'm sending two parameters. One is the cost price, one is the selling price. CP equal to 100, SP equal to 50. Just I write this select code, select function name, and send the parameter. Obviously it will return a result. You have got the result. 100% this will come out. You need not do anything because you are returning the profit. Okay, 50 minus 100 minus 50 is what internally it is happening. How it is happening? 100 is sitting here, 50 is sitting here. I'm beginning the code. Profit is something a variable, and set profit equal to 100 minus 50. This value I am returning, 50 is getting returned, and this return type has to match with this return type because this is an integer. Okay, I have to tell them what value you are returning. I see, suppose someone is coming from some place, I will make sure that what space is required for them, I will store it, right? The same thing, this profit I'll be returning as int. Now if I calculate this 100 comma 50, I'll be easily getting the answer as 50. Let us say I give 80, 47. So 80 minus 47 is going to be profit. Okay, now we'll go back to the code again. Very simple. Start with a delimiter, create function. Again I'm telling 100% it has to return an answer, means for sure it will accept like it will accept an input. So don't give in as an input. Not required. Okay, it will accept whatever you give as an input. So cost price and selling price is input, but no need to mention. Then I'll be returning the answer. That will be an integer data type. Then I'll begin the code, declaring one variable profit equal to cost price minus selling price, something I'll give formula, and I'm returning the answer. I have the answer in profit. Now I'm returning the profit. This profit and the data type should match, and it will return the answer. Okay, now this is a very simple code, and one thing it is mandatory to write is, you have to write this deterministic. Okay, why you have to write a deterministic? This is only in MySQL. Okay, if you go for other database, this is not mandatory. Why deterministic is required is it makes sure this data type, profit data type, and the returning data type is same. For that reason, I want to give it as a same. Okay, so this is what? Integer. The same integer I'm returning out. Okay, I'm returning an integer. So for that reason, I have to write a word called deterministic. This is a mandatory word when you're writing a function in MySQL. Okay, so all this no one is going to ask you for your information. I'm telling, if you're writing a function, make sure you write this deterministic if you're writing in MySQL. If you're going for PL SQL and all, it is not required. Okay, so two things you have to remember: no need to give input, because at any point of time function will return. If I ask you what is 2 plus 3, a very simple example I'll give. Okay, let us say you people are there, and if I'm asking 2 plus 3, at any point of time you have to tell me an answer. If you don't tell me an answer, what is the purpose of asking me a question? You will tell me 5. That means you for sure you will return an answer. So whatever I give, you will assume that whatever I am telling is an input. Okay, so then profit, thus profit I am returning. That profit, when I'm returning, that data type and the integer data type has to match. For that, deterministic is a keyword which will make sure both are same. So it's a mandatory. Okay, so any questions on this simple procedure, simple function?
Santosh, can we give an alias name while calling that function in that select clause?
If you want to give an alias name, you can give.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me,
Okay.
Santosh.
Hmm?
What is the difference between the return and out parameter?
Out parameter is used in the procedure, okay, where you're telling that you are like using as an output or not. It's up to you. Okay, that is output is something like same, it is like returning it, it will be returned in the value. But here, when you're writing a function, if I'm asking you a question, 100% you have to respond back. So you have to write a return. So for sure you will be returning this value. So here you need, there is no concept like in or out in a function. Directly you are writing a logic and you're returning the answer. Returning the answer is something which is achieved using return keyword.
So can we return more than one value there?
Yeah, you can return more than one value.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay, now maybe this looks a very simple example. Okay, what we will do, we will go and write few more logic. Okay, so what I will do, I will write one sum function. I will write one sum function. Okay, so drop function, this is fine. Delimiter. See, create function, function name. Two inputs I am giving. 22 and 23 are two inputs, and I'll close the bracket. And this line is very important. 25 returns int. After addition, you have to return an integer. I'm entering it. Deterministic is something, it's mandatory in a function, and I'm beginning it, and I'm going to return a is equal to b. Okay, now if I run this, the function is run, no error. Okay, now what I will do, how to call a function using a simple select statement. 6 comma 7 or 6 comma 8. So what will happen? 6 will go and sit here, 8 will go and sit here, it will add, and that number will be written. That number captured will be by this, because if it is the same data type, it makes deterministic, makes sure this and this are same. Now if I run it, 14 is my answer. This is a function. Okay, now still you may not be clear with the function. Why? Because what you're doing, you're just adding a cost price, selling price, you're taking a addition, subtraction. Very simple you're doing. When actually you will understand is, you will go with one more example. We'll go with one more example. Okay, so what I will do, I will write one logic. Okay, see, one function I'm writing, customer occupation. Customer occupation. The only parameter which I'm sending is age. Okay, and I'm not mentioned any int and all. So returns, this time I'm returning a varchar, like some sentence or some string. Okay, then I'll make deterministic. Then I'll begin. So I will declare one variable, customer occupation. Customer occupation. Okay, for this customer occupation, I'm declaring as varchar. Whatever age I am giving, if it is greater than 35, you set the occupation as scientist. Whatever age you're sending, if it falls in between 35 and 30, you give that value as engineer. Else, if age is greater than 30, you set that customer occupation equal to actor. Whatever you send, based on that, I'm setting the occupation. Okay, and this is very, very important. Once you have assigned the value, you have to return that. Very important. You have to return that. This return value should match with this varchar data type because it's in a quotes. This is in quotes. It has to match the data type. That is what I have done it here, return. Okay, now I will run this. Now I will run this. No error. Okay, so now what I will do, I will go and call this. Select, call this, and send the age, whatever age you want, you send. So now select this of age 34, engineer, 29, actor. Okay, 40, scientist. Based on the age, this age is calculated by this, and you will be getting the output as scientist, engineer, actor. Okay, but you may ask me a question, how this is useful in your real time? Simply I've written logic, either it's a cost price, selling price, or addition, subtraction, or giving the age and getting the occupation. It's a very, very simple what you're going to do in the real time. Okay, for that, what I will do is let us create a simple table. Test customer ID, name, age. I will create it, and I'll insert some records, and I'll go and write select code, select star from test customer. Now I will write this. I've got this. Okay, now try to understand, try observe. This is very, very important. Observe, this table is there, right? This table 73. After this comma, I will call the function. After this comma, I'll call the function. For this function, I was doing an hard coded value, like I was sending 40, 20, 30, everything. What I will do now, I will pass the entire column here. This function I have written, it accepts one input parameter, that is age, and this age, if you see, it is coming from this table. For each and every age, the function will be calculated. Now if I run this, based on my age, I am an actor. Based on this age, he is an engineer. Based on the age, he is getting a scientist. Based on this, I'm getting an actor. So this is a function logic directly I've applied on the table by just using in the select code. Line number 75 is the actual table. I've added an additional column in the line number 73 by just using a function. Okay, one more difference which I'm telling you now. Function can be used in a select code, whereas procedures cannot be used in the select code, because procedure I don't have control whether it is returning an input or it is a returning an output, or I can use it without a function, or maybe I can use it without any giving anything also. I don't have control. But this function 101% it has to return a value. That's why I'm able to use it here. This for sure it has to return a value. For sure it has to return a value. So I'll just write this function. Like, you may ask me, you have written a very simple logic like based on the age, but in the real time I can use it in the select code with respect to the table. This was my original table. Based on this age, I want to calculate what is their occupation. For the occupation, I've written a logic, function logic, and that I will be calling function name, comma, this age. This age becomes the input. For 28, it will calculate as actor. For 30, it will calculate as scientist. For 45, it is going to show me as doctor. Something like that, I will be getting the result like this. And this entire function name is given with the name of the column. I don't like. Give some occupation. Some alias name. Give us occupation. Now we run it. Occupation. This occupation is coming from function. Try to understand that. Okay, did you understand now? Procedures for automated logic, functions, some mathematic operations, some occupation you want to calculate, and you use it in your original table, you will be able to get this. Is it clear?
Yes, Santosh.
Everyone?
Santosh.
Yeah. Now very important, very important question. Okay, so if you have mentioned something like basic knowledge in PL SQL in your resume, for sure they're going to ask you procedure versus function. Okay, I will tell you the answer now. You have to repeat the same. Okay, procedure is used to apply some logic, or maybe like for repetitive task. Okay, it can accept input output, or it can be even run without any input or output, and you will be using it for repetitive task. Come for function is used for writing some any mathematical operation. 100% it has to return a value. It has to return a value. Okay, procedure need not return a value, but function has to return a value at any cost, and functions can be used in the select query. Procedures cannot be used in the select query. Three things you have to tell. First is procedure for repetitive task, functions for mathematical task. Procedure need not return a value, function has to return a value at mandatory. Procedures cannot be used in the select code, functions will be used in the select code. These three things if you tell, that's all it is. Okay, can anyone repeat?
Yeah, procedures need to be used. I mean, procedures will be used in a repetitive task or a repetitive usage, and procedure. Most of the times, procedures we use for using logics, whereas the functions will be used to for mathematical expressions. And procedures will not return any value. Functions will return a value. We can't procedures can't be used in a select statement. Functions can be used in a select statement.
Yes, so you're 100% correct, but in second point is something which you have to correct it. You're telling that procedure did not return a value. It's not like that. You can return using out parameter as well. So what you have to tell is procedure can or cannot return a value, that is optional by using out parameter, but function, it has to return the value at any cost. That sentence, if you change it, your answer is absolutely correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone want to try? Just tell me the difference between procedures and functions. Just 3 points. No one? Yes, please try.
Yeah, procedures can be used for repetitive tasks and cannot return values, and we can't use in the select statements. Coming to functions, it can be used in mathematical tasks and also can return values. Uh, can be used in functions can be used in select statements also.
Yes, okay, correct. So functions is used for mathematical operations and logics, and it has to return value, and it can be used in the select code. Okay, so these 3 important steps is something which I will expect as an interviewer. I will be expecting. Okay, so very simple, nothing change, the code change. If you see this, for this is a procedure, so what we have done in the procedure, we have called as an input parameter. Okay, and if you see, we have called with in and out as well. So out means it is returning the output. So this is, I am giving output, so it is returning it. So it can work only with input, it can work only with output, and it will work with both, and it cannot work with both as well. So optional. So this is optional. And what extra things I have done? Nothing. I have just written the logic. If you come for function, the mandatory is it has to return a value. You need not give input or output, because for sure if I'm asking a question to a function, it has to accept an input. No in parameter here. I will accept it, and I will be writing the logic, and that logic I'll be returning it, because that is an answer, and that it has to match with the varchar data type. If you just return this customer occupation and if you returns int, it will not work, because customer occupation is a varchar. Okay, so that is something which will fail here. So always make sure this data type and this data type is same. Okay, so once that is done, you can use this in your select code. Initially maybe you would have found it difficult, like what is the simple logic you're telling, addition, subtraction, occupation, but in the real time you can use it on the original table. Any table, let it be, if ever it is having age, you can go and include this. It will get as an additional column. That is what we have got here, occupation. It may look simple, but in the real time, most of them would have used this because of their business objective. They would have done a simple function and they will be using in the select code. It works on each and every row. First it will send 28, it will give actor. Next it will send 30, it will give engineer. Next it will send 45, it will give scientist. Next it will send 25, it will give actor. So based on this will come. Okay, now we'll go back to the syntax. Now it will go back to the syntax. Okay, so create function name, no in parameter, a int, b int, and you have to return it. Okay, and one more thing I missed here is deterministic will come. After deterministic, begin, and again I have to return the answer. This is all is a syntax. Now I'll go to the definition. So as the name implies, you can perform any logic. Function means some functionality. It performs any logic. You can write any mathematical operation on data, anything, profit, loss, cost, price, discount, anything you can write it. Okay, and the last point is very important. A function is almost same than a procedure, but it will return a value. Very good example, I asked you some addition, what is 5 plus 4? At least one of you has to answer me. That means you are returning an answer. So function is 100%, it has to return an answer. That is all is the difference. Okay, so we have covered procedures, functions. Okay, another two topics is there that we will see tomorrow. This is completed, this is pending, we will see tomorrow. Okay, again, don't break your head, as again I'm told, this is all for the general knowledge we are learning. In the real time, as a Power BI developer, no one is going to ask you write a function, procedure, nothing. Just for the cracking interview, or maybe for the just one line of sentence in your resume, basic knowledge on Power BI, sorry, PLSQL. If you mention basic knowledge on PLSQL, the first question they're going to ask is what is the difference between procedures and functions? That you already know the answer. Okay, so we'll see views and triggers in the tomorrow session. Are we good?
Yeah, Santosh, one small note. A few of my friends are working in real time with regards to Power BI. So they were saying most of the times they were using Excel only to sort out the data. Is it true?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah,
In the
for the
real
data
time?
purpose, so they were saying most of the times they will be using Excel only.
No, not like that. If that they are using only Excel, means they are working on a small projects. In the real time, you will be connecting the data from the database. Like you have a MySQL server, we have a MySQL database. You will be connecting the data from here to Power BI. You will be creating a charts, and nowadays people are connecting to Azure Data Cloud as well. So only Excel means it's a simple project, POC project, or it is a small company.
Okay, Santosh. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other question?
Santosh.